Hi everyone, once again. I'd like to thank Ercan Hocam and Dinçer Hocam for their opening welcome and for being here as institutional representation for this important conference. It's good to see that the project result will have some room for application because we will have some, to us, we will have some important remarks and it will be very good for us to see that they will be applicable first of all at the coordinating institution, and then hopefully we aim to become a hub for transferring this knowledge to the other institutions across Turkey and also to the other countries where relevant. Before I start presenting Facing Academic Integrity Threats Project, I'd like to provide a very brief introduction of my involvement in academic integrity, which I believe is very important. Because considering the delegation here, I see very familiar faces who have devoted their time to academic integrity research. So we have academic integrity experts here from all over the world. However, we also have new faces with us. So I'd like to specifically address these new faces. We consider academic integrity as a discipline, which has a background almost for 3 decades. What does it mean? I'm teaching academic writing at English language teaching department for about 2 decades. And in 2010, I recognized that my students were plagiarizing. The incident was, I was teaching a class consisting of 167 students. And at the end of the semester, I realized that exactly 100 of my students, which means 2/3 of my students, plagiarized. So it was something, a shocking experience for me as a teacher, because I was considering myself as a good teacher at that time. Then I recognized a problematic incident. What I did was, okay, they plagiarized, so for myself, they are going to fail and they are going to repeat. However, I needed support at that time. I immediately visited our dean. At that time, Dean Çaykurtsal, now the vice rector, was acting as our dean. I visited him, informed him about the situation, and I told him that, okay, they will all fail. Do you support me? He said yes. Okay, this was an agreement between myself as a lecturer and with the administration. However, when we check the policies, unfortunately, we don't have very clear policies identifying the procedures to be followed in the case of academic misconduct. Okay, this is something relevant to the detection, relevant to reaction against academic misconduct. And beyond this, what about preventive policies? What about proactive policies? What is our policy to prevent any type of academic misconduct? Unfortunately, at that time, we didn't have much clear policy. So I start working on this. For next semester, I tried Turnitin as text matching software to prevent plagiarism. To some extent, it works. However, it requires some additional pedagogical support. So I tried this for several years until 2014, when I start interacting with academic integrity community. I was trying to survive myself. I was assuming that I was the only teacher on earth who was experiencing such a problem. And I was trying to solve my own problem because assuming that it is valid for myself, no others are experiencing similar problems. So which means that I lost 3 or 4 years for developing the pedagogical background in order to solve the problem. However, later I recognized that, hey, people already have some solutions to the problems. All we need to do is finding these people in a community, interacting with them, learning what they are doing, and then adapting their solution to our cases. It's that simple. So I'm sure now among the delegates, among new delegates to academic integrity, there are people who are struggling with academic integrity issues. Don't assume that the problems cannot be solved. Yes, we can solve the problems. However, we need support. We need support from experts. So it is important to be involved in this academic integrity community. And I believe we have well-known academic integrity experts here represented in this conference. And your interaction with them will provide good guidance for you to solve the issues. Okay, now I'd like to move to Facing Academic Integrity Press project because it is showing from pedagogical policies perspective what we have been doing at Çanakkale 18 Mart University with the contribution of the other universities. Okay, now I have a disclaimer here. I'd like to thank to all team members of PACE projects for the preparation of this presentation because I borrowed some slides from our earlier presentations. What are we supposed to be here? I try to, first of all, show you the theoretical background, why we are having this project. And then I'm going to introduce our project results and the activities, the events that we have done and that we are planning to do in the future. Of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions at the end of the session. Maybe we should agree on the definition of academic integrity before we move forward. Here you see a definition of academic integrity. Indeed, it comes from the European Network for Academic Integrity's glossary, which we developed through NIE project several years ago. And here, how do we identify academic integrity? Compliance with ethical and professional principles, standards, practices, consistent system of values that serves as guidance for making decisions and taking actions in education, research, scholarship. Okay, education, research, scholarship, we are making a reference to higher education setting here, specifically. And we are also making reference to ethical values, professional principles, and the other standards and practices. Now, the important thing here is they are serving as guidance. What type of guidance? Guidance for making decisions. What does it mean? Remember, for example, what happened during the pandemic. We went to emergency remote teaching, and then everything changed. So we took some decisions. However, where did we place academic integrity at that time? Suppose, for example, our students, they took exams. Online examinations, considering exam security. What precautions did we take? Okay, while we are doing this, while we are taking these actions into consideration, what do we do? This is the important step in taking decisions here, and integrity here making a reference to different people involved in the action, such as, for example, teachers, students, administrators, and the university or the institution itself. When we move forward, now we are questioning why do we need academic integrity at our universities? Now, I will make a reference to lovely Tracy Bretak. We are privileged because Tracy visited our university in 2018. And we are in academic integrity community grateful for her work. She says that it is fundamental to teaching, learning, and research. again, it becomes a fundamental value in higher education setting. And when we talk about quality now, we are proud because we are an accredited institution, which means that we have some standards for quality assurance. So if we have academic integrity at the center, then it will boost our institution. And when it comes to society itself, okay, we are training teachers, we are training engineers, we are training doctors here. However, after they graduate, they will be members of society. So the ultimate aim of academic integrity policies or cultivating a culture of academic integrity is bringing individuals with ethical principles to the society. So that's why Gülce's indeed opening address is very important for every one of us, because Gülce is representing the society here, and our aim is interacting with the society. If we discriminate academia from society, then it doesn't work in practice. So that's very important for us. And we have been repeatedly talking about policies, the importance of academic integrity policies, because we consider them as blueprint documents, and they are the first essential things that we take into consideration, that we develop in order to cultivate a culture of academic integrity. However, we need to be careful. Policies on their own, they won't institute a culture of academic integrity. However, they are essential as the first step of cultivating academic integrity. For policies, we said that policies are important for the cultivation of academic integrity. However, what about the components of academic integrity? What do we expect from these policies? First of all, we need to identify the roles of different stakeholders in these policies. So if you are only blaming students in the case of plagiarism, for example, then it means that we don't have a good policy. And here, maybe it might be useful to make a quick reference to approaches here. We will have two main discriminations: rule compliance approach and integrity approach when we make a reference to Keynes' approaches to integrity. Later, Bertram Gallant provides two relevant questions making reference to this discrimination here. If you are asking such a question, how do we stop students from cheating? Then it means that we are making a reference to rule compliance approach. Instead, if you are asking such a question, how do we ensure students are learning? Then it means that we are making a reference to integrity approach. So which one is better? Which one is superior to the other one? Integrity or rule compliance approach? Indeed, we are not talking about a superiority here. Instead, we are trying to make a combination relevant to our goal here. However, we need to consider the difference between these two approaches here. Now, here you see a screenshot from an Ethernet project. It was indeed, Ethernet is a Council of Europe's platform on ethics and relevant things. This project addressed 5 countries, including Turkey. Dr. Irving Glendening is one of the coordinators of the project, and she is here with us. In this project, we were able to see the strengths and weaknesses of our institutions. In 2019, Irving Glendening and her team visited our university among several other universities in Turkey to prepare the report. And when we check the report, we can see the weaknesses. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, there are some issues relating to academic integrity policies or practices in Turkey. It is valid for every country. So the important aspect here is, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What do we need to develop further? Indeed, this report provided some good guidance for us in order to see our weaknesses. For example, we are talking about internationalism. And as a university, we are aiming to bring more international students. However, when we bring more international students, it means that people with different background, cultural schematic knowledge, and different linguistic knowledge will be attending the same school. So considering their understanding of academic integrity and academic misconduct, there might be some issues. Therefore, we need to have an agreement, have a consensus on our understanding of academic integrity. Unfortunately, universities are lacking in their policies to provide guidance for international students. And this is also not limited to students. Academics are also changing institutions as visiting professors across the world. So this also makes a reference to universities. And for policies, when we check the policies available across Europe specifically, we can say that mainly universities are having either deductive policies or reactive policies. What does it mean? Universities are focusing on either the detection of plagiarism, let's say, for example, as a misconduct, and then how to deliver sanctions as a reaction, as a sanction to these students. However, our role as universities, as teachers, as professors, our role should be the prevention of academic misconduct. So that was providing a rationale for our project. It is important that if we have policies, they are up to date. What happens if we do not have up-to-date policies? Suppose, for example, if we maintain the same academic integrity policies in generative AI era, it means that we are doing it in a wrong way. It was similar to what we did during COVID, for example. So it means that policies they have a requirement for regular updates. Otherwise, rather than benefits, there will be some drawbacks. Here I provided examples from policies during COVID-19 and also policies after ChatGPT, and specifically making reference to Turkey. As you know, we had an earthquake last year. So after the earthquake again, we went back to emergency remote teaching once again. So these are enormous changes which require immediate policy revisions. Now, we already in the opening address, we already made a reference to generative AI. So how do we approach to generative AI? Something should be avoided or something which will be helpful. Indeed, on its own, it is impossible to define it as an enemy or as a friend. However, we need to consider how we are making use of generative AI here. So we need clear guidance, institutional policies, and identifying the steps, procedures that should be clearly identified by the institutions, so that both academics and students should know how to proceed forward. However, we have an important barrier here when we check, for example, the recent policies, academic integrity policies. In many of the policies, we don't have the contract cheating as a term. This is a very common academic misconduct. For those who are not familiar with this word, contract cheating makes a reference to third parties who are writing thesis assignments on behalf of students, mainly with some monetary benefits. In Turkish, we say ödevsinleri. So although this is a problem, in most of the policies, we don't have any reference to contract cheating. So what about AI? We have AI in our policies. Luckily, Council of Turkish Higher Education a few months ago, they identified some a framework document indicating a framework for ethical implementation of AI, generative AI at higher education setting, which will be very helpful for the universities to prepare their own policies. Another issue, the detection of AI-generated content. Among our sponsors, we have Turnitin and Compalicio. So they are claiming that they are providing solutions, and we have some report, especially some colleagues under INAI related work, VG. They prepared relevant documents. So we know that the detection is somewhat problematic at this format. Now, what do we learn from that? At university setting, learning and assessment, learning outcomes and assessment. We need to revise our learning outcomes, and we need to identify relevant assessment practices. Feedback becomes an important component here. If you are delivering the feedback only at the end of the semester, it means that students will not be able to benefit from this feedback. Instead, we should be providing feedback throughout the semester so that we can see how students are progressing, and then if there are any issues, how we can help them throughout the semester. So we need to revise our learning outcomes and relevant assessment practices. Now, when we come to the project, what we are doing with the project. We are 5 institutions in this project: Çanakkale 18 Mart University, Center for Academic Integrity. We are coordinating the project, and we have 4 partners from Europe, starting with European Network for Academic Integrity from Czechia. We have University of Constance from Germany. We have University of Maribor from Slovenia, and we have University of Porto from Portugal. So as this consortium, we have been working on 3 related project results within this project. We aim to finalize our project in February next year, so we are in the 3rd year of the project. When we come to the project results, we have 3 project results. The first project result deal with academic integrity policies. What we do with the first project result mainly is we try to understand what policies universities have. By analyzing these policies, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the policies, and then we benefit from the strengths. We try to provide guidelines for policymakers when it comes to making academic integrity policies, exemplary academic integrity policies. With the second project result, mainly we focus on pedagogical aspects. We try to collect materials, pedagogical materials that help teachers prevent plagiarism and the other, mainly plagiarism, but also the other types of academic misconduct. And then we are producing our own pedagogical materials and then disseminating them to the other relevant stakeholders. And in the third project result, we focused on victims. Who are these victims? Indeed, we consider anyone who's struggling with academic misconduct as a victim of academic misconduct. Suppose, for example, a student bought an assignment from an essay mill and then faces with some sanctions. Okay, now we have a student who we call as a victim. So what do we try to do? We have a platform, we have a safe platform that we developed under the webpage of European Network for Academic Integrity. And there we try to provide guidance to these victims. Regarding the first project result, this shows the timeline, how we collected policies and how we analyzed. I won't go in depth because relating to first project result presentation, Ece Hoca and Özgür Hoca will go in the details of how we conducted this research and our analysis. I'd like to call your attention to one aspect here. This is in red because we added this output after we started the project by getting approval from Turkish National Agency. Because after we started the project, ChatGPT emerged. And after the emergence of ChatGPT, we decided to take generative AI as a component, as an important component of our project. So we added another output there. We did the same relating to the second project result. Again here, materials, pedagogical materials relating to generative AI. This was added after we started the project. Here, I am showing a model which I developed previously. The model is providing some background for the prevention of plagiarism, and we benefited from this model in the adaptation of and in the development of some relevant materials. For example, the implementation of ethical implementation of generative AI tools in academic writing classes. This was an adaptation benefited from the model. Apart from this, we have been providing some pedagogical materials, specifically making reference to generative AI. Iran prepared some modules, relevant modules. These are both addressing teachers and students, so they can be used either in the classroom or self-study documents, and this is showing the coverage. Again, I'm leaving it to Oliver and Iram for the relevant presentation in the afternoon. And this is making a reference to project, third project result, victims. Here, for example, we have identified who is a victim, and then we are providing guidance through our platform here. You see the platform is a safe platform, and you see our mentors here. The mentors include paid project members. However, we also have additional experts who are supporting our project here. Apart from project results, we have events, learning, teaching, training events. First of all, although it did not appear in our project proposal, we piloted an activity, a PhD summer school on academic integrity in Çanakkale in 2022. It was not funded. However, we piloted it with the contribution of, again, our network. And we had good reflections from society, including Times Higher Education. And now we are maintaining this as INAI Academic Integrity PhD Summer School. So as learning, teaching, training activity, we had our activity last year. Milan is here. Milan organized this activity in Slovenia, in Maribor. And this September, we are organizing the next one in Constance. Oliver is organizing our next PhD summer school in Constance next month. For multiplier events, we have two multiplier events. We had the first one as conference in Porto, organized by Porto University. It was at the very beginning of the project because before we got the funding, we had started working on our platform. So we made the platform as quick as available for the people. So we disseminated our platform at Porto conference. That was the main aim. Now we are having our second multiplier event as it's facing academic integrity conference in Çanakkale.